Welcome to Serenity and Fire, the podcast where wellness meets grit. I'm your host, Krista Quagenti, founder of Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique. Join me as we dive into the intriguing world of biohacking, clean living, cutting-edge spa trends, and the hustle, grind, and grit of entrepreneurship. From my personal battles with weight management, infertility, and a 30-year journey to create and launch my dream business, to building a sanctuary for those who have been touched by cancer, I'm here to share real talk, inspire big dreams, and spark a passion for holistic living inside each and every one of you. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Serenity and Fire. I want to welcome someone who is an integral part of my team at Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique and someone to whom I am incredibly grateful for. She inspires, she leads, she's created a rock star first-in-class aesthetics team. She's also a mom of 3 babies. Please welcome my aesthetics manager and also my sales training manager, Cayley Rich.
That was quite the introduction. Thank you. Gosh, I feel special.
Also true. And Cayley, I'm so excited to finally have you here because we've been talking about this for months, I think even before the holidays.
Yes.
But you had to go ahead and have another baby, so.
I did do that, yes.
And you welcomed baby Jay here, 3 months ago?
About 4, March, yes.
Okay, all right. So Cayley has 3 little ones, all under the age of 5, her youngest being about 4 months old.
Yes.
And then little Lila, who is almost 2. And then Cade, who's going to be 5 or is already 5.
He's 5, yep. He's starting kindergarten this year.
Gosh, so exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we actually opened Panacea about 3.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you've actually had your last 2 babies since we opened.
Yes.
Which has been really exciting for all of us because you're such a huge part of the Panacea family. So we all kind of feel like, we all got to have the baby too, even though you did all the work.
Everybody did help out a lot at the spa. Yes, lots of snacks were had and lots of help. So I'll take it.
And you also moved into a brand new home.
Yes.
And your husband has been promoted twice, I think, and just recently in his job as a police officer. So that's really exciting. So just lots of growth, lots of huge life transitions going on for you and your family, which is super exciting. I'm sure it feels crazy for you, though.
It does, yeah. We definitely have a full schedule about all the time. So it can be a lot, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I feel like I have a crazy full plate all of the time, but then I think about everything that you're doing and I'm just so inspired and so amazed at everything that you do and how you hold it all together. And that's one of the big things I want to talk about on the episode today. But before we jump into that, can you tell one of my favorite stories, which is your Panacea origination story?
Oh, yeah. So I was fresh out of aesthetics school and I was looking around at jobs on Indeed and I kept seeing Panacea pop up and I looked at it and it was just renderings basically of pictures and I tried to search the business and I was like, what is this place? And I applied to probably 3 or 4 different places and I applied at Panacea obviously. And I was showing my husband, I was like, I don't know, is this place even a scam? Do you think I should show up to it? And he's like, honey, I think it's fine. It's really not the big deal. I'm like, it looks like it's in the middle of a lake or a quarry. There's no buildings. I don't know what's going on. And he's like, I think you should just try it. And if you don't like it, then that's fine. And so I interviewed at Panacea and a couple different other places. And when I came in, there was no walls. The whole part where the hyperbaric and the offices was steel beams. And my first interview, it was at a card table.
In construction dust.
Yeah, in construction dust.
Concrete floors, steel walls. I don't even know if we had windows. Did we have
There
windows?
was windows,
okay.
yeah. And part of the spa was I think they were laying the flooring in the hall, the back hallway that day actually. So I got to step around people. I got showed around and so there was you guys didn't there's no water. I didn't bring the water in and I was
we have no restroom. So if you have to go, we're gonna have to leave the site.
Yes. So so I did have to run down to my car and try and desperately find a bottle of water. So I didn't have any. And I was like, great, they're not gonna want me back. But it obviously ended up working out really well, and I was offered the position, and it was a little bit of a longer start date than I was anticipating.
We actually had expected to open in September, October of 2022. And then we just had so many construction delays. And, well, you know, you lived it. We didn't end up opening until really February, March timeframe. But
yeah, I mean, it worked out for me because if you had opened early, then I wouldn't have, you know, I wasn't even finished with school yet then. So it honestly, I think it worked out for a reason. But
well, we think so too. I'm so happy that you took the job despite wondering if it was a huge giant scam.
It was not a scam. So
I know that I always tell you, and we have a handful of people who are still with the team now who started in that phase with us and have been with us since we opened. And I'm always telling you guys, I'm so incredibly grateful for the fact that you took that huge leap of faith. Some of you quit jobs to come work at Panacea, not knowing anything about us not having any brand identity, like literally nothing. And like you said, no walls, no furniture, no bathrooms, like all the things. And you guys, you know, still moved forward. So to this day and forevermore, I'll always be so grateful to you and the others who, you know, took that chance and decided to stay on with Panacea. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so one of the other reasons that besides talking about, you know, the challenge of balancing mom life and work life, which we're going to get a little bit deep into here in a bit, I really felt like one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have you on the show is because so many people are just really confused about skincare and they just don't know where to start, what products to use, what order to use them in, when to use them, whether or not they need to exfoliate, how they should even do that if they should. And don't even get me started on all of the toners and the sunscreens and the peels and the retinols and the vitamin C and E and A and niacinamide and moisturizers. And then you've got all of the devices and a million other products that are out there. And then there's this whole debate around natural versus medical grade, which is something that we talk about a lot. And then we have to get into cost, of course. So is expensive actually better? So today, for everyone out there who's listening, I really want to try to help simplify skincare for everyone and provide answers to some of those questions that I just posed. So I figured who better to help me do that than my Panacea aesthetics expert, someone who lives and breathes skincare all day long. So
I do. I'm excited. Thank you.
Good. So let's start with the most common questions that people ask us when they're either coming in for a facial or maybe they're just in the spa and they just don't know anything about skin. What do you feel like people ask you the most?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'd say everybody wants to focus on anti-aging. Just about like 99.9% of people always check anti-aging, so that's always a big thing.
And mind you, our client base is pretty vast. I mean, we have people in their 20s, people obviously in their 60s, 70s, 80s. So it's all across the board, and I feel like everyone at every age, this is something that they care about.
Yeah. Well, and with anti-aging, it's very it's different to get into because a lot of times, you'll hear from like one side, oh, like it's what do you need that for? You're 25 and you don't have any wrinkles, and I try to explain, it's not that I don't have wrinkles, but I don't want to get them. It's anti-aging. It's much easier to prevent something than it is to correct it. So especially with home skincare, we're really wanting to focus on, developing that routine early on, making sure that we're consistent with it, getting spa treatments, and, just really making sure that we're keeping up on everything.
I think it's so important because when I look back at how my grandparents looked at my age, and I'm almost 52, they looked so old, and I love them to death, but like the difference is astonishing, and you see it, with a lot of actors on TV that are in their like 70s and 80s, and they look like they're like 45.
Oh yeah.
So having that skincare routine early, I agree with you, is so important, and I think one of the biggest things for me was definitely being taught by my mom early to use moisturizer, to use sunscreen all the time. And I think those things have helped preserve my skin. But I think on the other side of things is helping clients understand and appreciate the skin that they're in and loving who they are, no matter what stage they're at. And then us trying to help them find ways to age gracefully and maybe slow down the aging process too. What do you think about that?
No, I totally agree. It's very important, and it gets hard because sometimes like I've had clients say I really don't like having my skin judged, and that just kind of like it hurts my heart a little bit because I'm like I don't want to judge your skin. I want to help you focus on things that are important to you, and things that like maybe we can just help diminish something. Like if you're having more fine lines and wrinkles and you don't really want them, is there products that we can do or treatments at the spa that we can kind of help with that? And the answer is yes, we do. I have a lot of them, by the way.
Yep, I agree. What about sun damage? I hear from a lot of people, especially younger people, they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I have all this sun damage and now it's too late. Like, what am I going to do?
I wouldn't say it's not too late. You always, the earlier you can start, the better. I will say, with my age group, it's a little bit, we've been ingrained more with like sunscreen and, not using tanning beds. And I have clients that are in their, kind of more 50s that they're like, yeah, well, I used to lay outside doing, with tanning oil or baby oil. And, we went to the tanning bed and, we lived at the pool, no sunscreen. So it's definitely a different, I guess, like generation thing that you can see kind of playing in that. It's definitely not too late though. Vitamin C is a really great, source to help with like brightening and sun damage, making sure we're doing daily sunscreen. There's a lot of like good habits that you can start to kind of help, reverse some of that. We do have our VIZIA analysis skin
Love
machine.
the VIZIA. It's so awesome.
Yes, we have it at the spa. It's so wonderful. I actually need to scan myself soon. It's been
I
a
know.
while.
I do too. I haven't done it since before we opened, so we need to do it again.
Yeah, well, so the VIZIA is really cool because it, it goes like down and shows you things in your dermal layer that like you can't see to like, it shows you your UV damage that's underneath your skin. And it actually kind of helps to track it too. If you come in and get rescans every, 6 to 12 months, it actually is like a really cool tool that we can use to show the progress and change in your skin, especially when it comes to like, fine lines and wrinkles and sun damage and, kind of changing that.
I love that it also shows your true skin age. So
it does.
It will actually tell you what your age is. Obviously, your age, but what your skin age is at with when compared to other people in your age group and of your gender. And then I also love that it does that age progression analysis up to 80 years old. So being able to show people what their skin will likely look like by the time they're 80 years old, if they continue doing what they're doing right now, is pretty powerful.
Oh yeah, it's a very cool tool. I also like that it does like the age regression. So it'll kind of, like sometimes I'll, get a woman and it pushes her back to about 20 and she's like, oh my gosh, look at me. Or, if I have someone in their 20s, it'll like push them up to, close and be like, oh my gosh, it looks just like my mom. So you can like tell it works. That's very, very
100%,
cool tool.
For sure. So what other kind of questions do you think people ask you a lot about?
Definitely a routine for at home. And it can be very daunting. I feel like there's so much information, there's so many different lines and products, and this person says this and this esthetician says that, but my dermatologist says that this is a good idea. So just kind of like being able to filter that out and, make something that works for you and like your routine and your skin, I think is really important. That's definitely a big one.
Yeah, and I also think that, you can have two extremes when it comes to skincare. There are some products out there that can kind of take care of everything in one skincare treatment, or at least address your top major concerns. And then there are like people like me, as you can see here. This is my morning routine and this is my evening routine, which is, excessive for, I would say, 99% of the people out there. But I just love all of the stuff. So I just use all of the stuff and I'm very consistent and very committed to doing that. I actually, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I started to notice that I had this I was starting to get this like deep wrinkle here on my lip. And I was like, that is not happening. And so I literally like everything I can possibly use to prevent that I use. And so that's why I use a lot of these products. And I've, personally never had Botox or filler. And I don't feel like I have 11 lines or frown lines or, forehead lines or even that deep wrinkle getting worse. So I do think there's a lot that you can do with natural skincare to help stave off the aging process. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it gets really difficult too because, and I explain this to clients at the spa all the time. They're like, well, what about, this product line? And I tell them, I was like, I'm really honest. I'm very into like non-toxic, like living in general, especially when it comes to products that we put on our, our skin. Our skin's our largest organ in our body. So everything you're putting on is being absorbed into that.
This is why you fit in so well in Panacea.
Well, thank you. But if you like think about it, I think actually you had told me like one of our first days like in training when we were like in the conference room, and their average woman puts on, I think it's like around 140 chemicals a day before she walks out the door.
Yeah.
So you have to think that's from your hairspray and your toothpaste and your makeup and your skincare, like everything that you're putting on, contains all of these, unfortunately, not great ingredients that are in them. And you actually really opened my eye to that. And I immediately went home and I was like, I thought I was using good stuff because even like laundry detergent, you're like, oh, like all free and clear. It's not actually all free and clear at all.
That's one of the worst ones out there, honestly, like as far as like what it advertises to the public versus what it is actually doing to your body and what you're actually putting on your body. It's very frustrating for me.
Oh yeah, it is. And there's so many, there's marketing and packaging, looks so different. And, you're like, this looks like it's a cleaner brand because it's maybe got some green on it or
it says it's all natural.
Yeah, or it says all natural. Yeah. But then you look it up and, and it's not, unfortunately. So, I get questions a lot. I actually had a client 2 weeks ago and she goes, so tell me the truth. Do you really use the products here? And I'm like, yes, I actually do. I use most of them, if I'm being honest. Probably too many. Hopefully my husband doesn't hear that part, but I always bring stuff home. He's like, is that new? I'm like, no, it's old. I've had it. But yeah, natural skincare, it's, for me, it's really important. I compare it to food a lot and, or working out, skincare. It's very similar. So it's are you, drinking orange juice that is from, Minute Maid concentrate that has orange flavoring in it, maybe that's some other skincare brand.
Sunny Delight.
Yeah, exactly. Or are we drinking, the all natural, no added sugar, cold pressed juices, that's kind of the difference that I see and the most easy way to think about it when it comes to skincare.
Yeah.
And with how important it is, just kind of making that swap. Is it similar? Sure, but what benefits is your body actually getting from it?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's not that our bodies can't handle some toxins; they definitely can, but to your point, it's the overwhelming amount of toxins that we're putting on our body every single day. Your cup eventually overflows and your body can't handle it. So wherever we can find places to cut some of those things out, all the better for our clients. And that's why we love the skincare brands that we carry at Panacea. And I don't force you guys to use the products, but it makes me really happy that you all do. I think that's, pretty much everyone on our team is using our products in some way, shape, or form. And I love that because that means it's working and that you guys believe in them. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about cleansing. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't cleanse, or I just use water, or I don't need to cleanse every day.
Cleansing is very important. So, when we really get into that, to me, just kind of basically taking care of your skin in general is a cleanser, moisturizer, and sunscreen. If you're that's just very basic kind of, hygiene kind of thing. So with cleansing, we're really getting down to the skin, getting rid of that buildup of dirt and pollution that gets into our pores from the day. There's makeup, you're outside, you're sweating, so cleansing is super important. And I do double cleanse, which I feel that everybody should.
Why? Explain that to our listeners.
Okay, so double cleansing, ideally you're going to do an oil cleanser first, especially if you wear makeup. And even if you don't, I honestly, I don't really wear makeup. I am today.
But what if my skin is oily?
So it's actually really beneficial for oily skin because oil attracts oil. So if you think about it, your pores are clogged and they have oil in them. So if you're using an oil cleanser, it's actually going to help pull the oils out. Our Stone Crop cleansing oil from Eminence is my favorite. So I use that one first.
And it smells amazing.
It does, yes. So I use that one first, and then if I'm being honest, I probably have 3 or 4 other cleansers that I rotate depending on the day that I do for my second cleanse. But just really making sure that you kind of get in there. You don't need to do anything too crazy. I feel like that's a lot of what I hear is, I don't have time to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, set a timer and see how long it actually takes you. It's really, you're 60 seconds, nothing too.
And that oil-based cleanser, so you're doing the oil cleanse first, and you're doing that typically on dry skin, right?
Yes, dry skin, dry hands. Yep, we don't want any water in it.
And that's going to help emulsify and pull those oils and dirts and makeups off of the skin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so then you rinse that.
Yes.
And then you do your regular cleanser.
Yes, exactly. And that regular cleanser, I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of rotate between some, but there's some for different skin types. I mean, and it's also on preference. Some people like a creamy cleanser, and some people really feel like they need like that, like, soapy feeling to get their skin clean. And neither are right or wrong. That's, to me, I feel like as long as, you're getting your skin clean, whatever works for you is kind of more of a preference base. I will say that ours have a lot of active ingredients than most. So if you're using kind of like a drugstore brand, that's like a gentle cleanser, it's not that it's not good for your skin per se, at least in my opinion, but there's definitely more that we can do, and kind of packing in different ingredients and can help a lot.
Well, and I also think, and we're going to get into the drugstore versus spa based or spa grade skincare products discussion in a little bit, but on that topic, you also get a lot of things in drugstore based products that you don't know what they are.
Exactly.
And so you're putting maybe not the highest grade of products on your skin. They're typically super, super diluted with typically water and other things. So the potency of those products, they seem great because they are inexpensive, but then you're going through them super fast because you need to use a lot more of them, and the potency isn't as good.
Exactly. Yeah. Like our cleansers that we have, I mean, I use like the tiniest pea size amount and like mix water with it. So like my cleansers, they last, for like a couple months, honestly. And then, versus having to use like 2 or 3 pumps of, something, and, having to replace it every couple weeks, makes a big difference.
Yeah, I would say my cleansers, and I stay pretty religious to my cleansers. I might rotate them out. Like I'll use one until it's gone, and then I'll try a different one. But I would say mine last at least 3 months.
Yeah.
So using the right amount of product when you're looking at a spa grade product is very important. These products that we carry don't have all of those extra preservatives in them, and you're getting the true potency of the product, and they're actually using clean, natural ingredients to preserve the product so that we're not diluting it down, and also you're not putting harmful chemicals on your body.
Oh, exactly. And they smell so good.
I know they do.
Every client I have, they're like, oh my gosh, what is that? That smells so good. And I'm like, well, it's because it like actually has strawberries in it. It's not like scented, like it's like the actual like fruit that's in it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so back on cleansing. So how often should someone cleanse?
Twice a day. So I do not double cleanse in the morning, I will say, but I do a great double cleanse in the evening, just to kind of help get off the day. And then in the morning, I do definitely use my like normal cleanser too before the rest of my skincare.
And do you think water temperature matters when you're cleansing?
Yes. So I typically do like lukewarm, a little bit like warmer water. Cold water, you're really not like getting in to be able to like clean it. You do need warm water. Same thing like when you wash your hands, you want warm water.
Because that's helping to like open up the pores and help get all of this stuff out. Is that why?
It does, yes, but also just to kind of help like actually like get in and get the dirt out. I'm pretty sure it's just proven, that warm water works better. You also don't want the water to be too hot too, because you don't want it to mess with like irritate your skin, mess with skin barrier kind of things. We don't want to use like, super hot water on the skin either.
Okay. Okay, then let's talk about how long it takes typically for products like we're talking about to actually work. Because I feel like people come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to see improvements like tonight, right? Or like in a few days. What do you tell people when they say that?
That would be great. I will say you do have to be consistent. So that's the other thing that is really important. Like, are you buying these products and you're going home and, you're only doing your routine 2 or 3 nights a week? That's definitely going to change your results. If you're consistent with your skincare routine, typically I would say you should see results within 4 to 6 weeks. And I do recommend like when you start a new routine, and you're consistent with it, taking pictures before you start, and then, like a week or 2 in, and then, kind of towards the end, because it's difficult to see change in your own skin if you're looking at it all the time. You're like, wait, does that wrinkle really look a little bit better, or that kind of thing. So those pictures definitely kind of help too. But yeah, the 4 to 6 weeks, I would say.
Okay, fair. And then what about, okay, let's get into sunscreen, because we already talked a little bit about it. I think a lot of people feel like they can just skip sunscreen, or they don't really see the importance of it. So tell me your thoughts on sunscreen.
Okay, sunscreen's very important. So to me, like if I were to not leave the house with anything, I would put sunscreen on.
Same. That's my number one, like can't live without product.
Yes. If somebody tells me they don't have a skincare routine, the first thing I do is I'm like, okay, let's get you some sunscreen first because that's like, it's so important. And I feel like there's been a lot of debate and I've had clients coming in asking, well, I heard sunscreen's bad for you now because you're not supposed to use it. And I'm like, well, are you talking about chemical sunscreen or mineral sunscreen? Because there's a big difference in it. Mineral sunscreen, of course, is what we use. So mineral sunscreen uses non-nano zinc oxide to help basically create that barrier on your skin and helps to block the sun's rays from it, where chemical sunscreen is going to like absorb some of the sun's rays. So it actually makes your pigmentation darker and it actually makes your skin warmer too. But the other thing I hear a lot is, well, it's not even sunny out today, or, you know, I work from home and, you know, I just kind of, I don't really need it that much. And to that, I will say you do. So the sun's rays, basically, you know, there's different forms of like wavelength and light. The UVA rays are aging rays. So I always remember aging. And so those are around all the time. They very easily penetrate through clouds and through glass. I think they say about 70 to 80% of our sun damage actually occurs from normal daily activities versus actually just like going to the beach. So that's going to be from like walking your dog or getting the mail or driving to pick up the kids. All of that is sun damage and it's coming into your skin. So
Yep. And I think, you know, sunscreen is not only going to help protect us from skin cancer, it protects us from DNA damage. It helps protect us from UV-driven collagen breakdown. And then, like you said, pigmentation or, you know, hyperpigmentation and sunspots. So,
absolutely.
And I think driving's like one of those big things that nobody really thinks about. Well, I'm just going to hop in the car and run to the store really quick, no big deal. But when we look at people on the VIZIA machine,
I was just going to say
see
that
a lot where the left side of their face is aged more than the right side of their face.
Absolutely. Actually, almost every single time the left and right side are on the VIZIA, they're not the same age. And the left side's usually a year or two older. Every once in a while, I'll get somebody on the right. And I'm like, are you a passenger a lot? And they're like, oh, yeah, I am. I'm like, okay, I can tell. That makes sense then.
That does make sense. Okay, let's talk about moisturizers and eye creams.
Okay.
Do we need both? What do you think about, you know, do people even need to have a moisturizer? Do they need eye creams?
You definitely need moisturizer. And I know a lot of times people I'll hear is, well, my skin's oily, so I don't feel like I need it. And it's actually the opposite. So especially if you have oily skin, you know, your skin craves like that moisture. So it's trying to produce its own, basically. So it's producing more oil. So especially if you have oily skin, typically people like to use something like more purifying products on it. And so if you're kind of stripping away all that oil and then not applying a moisturizer, your skin is actually producing more oil to try and like keep up. Because it's like, oh my gosh, where's my oil? Where's my humectant kind of thing? It needs like that moisture to it. So it's very important to make sure you're putting moisturizer on, definitely.
Yeah, and I think also moisturizer helps boost our skin barrier protection. It also helps reduce inflammation in the skin.
Yes.
And helps prepare our skin for all of the other things that we're putting on it before we put the moisturizer on.
Yes. Oh, and eye creams was your other question.
Yes, eye creams.
So eye creams, the skin around our eyes is so thin, and we actually wrinkle them a lot because, you know, we hopefully smile.
Or we're squinting because we're not wearing our sunglasses.
Or we're squinting, exactly. So we wrinkle our eyes a lot. So typically in women, where we see signs of aging around the eyes is where most women start to notice it first, and I think just from that. So making sure that we're, you know, using an eye cream that has, you know, some moisture in it. A good peptide is great. I think I see your peptide eye cream over there. Yeah, I do.
I've got two that I use, actually.
Okay. I'm not surprised.
Where's my other one? Oh, here it is. This one. So I use this one for like dark circles and bags under my eyes. And I use this one for the anti-aging and the collagen boosting.
Yes.
And like they both help with wrinkles, but I feel like this one really helps with the wrinkles.
Yes.
Would you agree?
I do agree.
Good picks?
They are good picks, yeah. Any kind of peptides, and those both have peptides in them. So no, you do good, yeah.
and I think a lot of people ask, well, can't I just use my moisturizer as my eye cream?
I mean, it's hard to be like, you need an eye cream, you know, because sometimes I will say like it can be, you know, daunting to have, you know, that 20-step skincare routine. So, you know, if it's not something that's as important to you and, you know, that's hard to say.
I think also too, sometimes if it comes down to budget,
Yes.
and you have to pick one or the other, I would say the moisturizer.
Exactly.
Because then you can use it everywhere and you're still going to get great benefit even around the eyes.
Exactly. And that's where I find a lot of times where, you know, people are trying to pick and choose, like, you know, obviously, would we love to have this all? Yes. It does cost a lot of money, you know, to keep up and maintain it, you know, especially with different, you know, treatments and stuff too. So, yeah, I agree.
So on that note, you already said that basically if you were stranded on a desert island or the house was burning down, the one product that you would grab is your sunscreen.
Yes.
I would concur with that.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick, if that wasn't the case and there were no crazy extremes, and you could only pick 3 products that you would recommend, what would you tell people that you feel are the most important?
Okay. Does this include like cleanser, moisturizer?
All the things, all the categories. They can only have 3.
Only 3? Okay. Well, then
I
think I already said it. I mean, you definitely need to cleanse, moisturize, and sunscreen. Those are our top 3. Absolutely.
Yep. I think for me, sunscreen 100% for sure. I know cleansing's so hard because it's like you have to cleanse.
Yes. So that's why I'm like, I don't feel like it should count. I feel like that's like a given.
Like cleanser, you have to have cleanser. But and then for me, I'm like, it's a toss up between vitamin A and vitamin C.
Agree.
I feel like those are so important. But again, the hydration is so critical too, and you're getting that through your serums and your moisturizers. So it's hard to pick just 3, but I agree with you that if you have to narrow it down and you can't have anything else, then cleanser, moisturizer, and sunscreen are going to give you the core foundation of what you need.
Yes. And I do find that a lot with clients whenever they come in, you know, to the spa and they have questions. I'm like, if you're not doing anything, let's start here. And then, you know, we can always start kind of building into, you know, building that, you know, more skincare in.
Yeah. So I mentioned vitamin A and vitamin C. Let's talk about those and why people use them and where they would fit into your skincare regimen.
Yeah, so vitamin C and vitamin A are really good active ingredients to use. We just call them actives. So vitamin C should be done in the morning. So vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin. So what that means is that our body doesn't store it, so we need that. So using vitamin C, if you're going to do it, you want to do it every day to make sure that's effective and, you know, producing change in your skin that you're wanting. If you're only doing it every once in a while, it's probably not doing too much. But vitamin C is very important antioxidant. It helps with oxidative stress that comes from the sun, which causes, you know, sagging and premature aging and fine lines and wrinkles, pigmentation of the skin. So vitamin C is very, very important. So that should be done in the morning. And I do know a lot of people that put their vitamin C and they like rub it together in their hands like this. And vitamin C is a very unstable molecule, so you actually don't want to do that. So you just want to like kind of puddle it in your hand and then press it into the skin. And that one I typically do right after cleansing. If you're going to do a toner, you can. And then your vitamin C should be your first serum that you put on, just so that way it absorbs into the skin properly.
And the one thing I love so much about vitamin C too is that it actually enhances the effectiveness of your sunscreen.
Yes,
it has that added power and benefit as well. Okay, vitamin A.
Okay, vitamin A. So
wait, one more thing on vitamin C.
Yeah.
So yes, always use it in the morning. It makes sense to use it in the morning because that's when you're going to be going out about your day. You're going to be in the sun. That's when you want the most protection.
Yes.
So using the vitamin C, definitely under your sunscreen, important. But vitamin A is another story. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So vitamin A, we should not be using in the morning at all because we don't want it to be in the sun when we have vitamin A on our skin. Vitamin A is part of the retinoid family. So there's different forms of it. There's many. The one that we have at the spa that's my favorite is our Advanced A Serum through Arcana. It's actually a retinol with an A at the end. So retinol is basically
one of my faves.
It is like a step closer to a what our body naturally accepts versus retinol. The retinol is like naturally closer. So that one's actually 11 times more effective than a retinol serum. The retinol is.
And then just for everybody out there, so the different forms, you'll hear things like retinol, retinoic acid, retinoid, retin-A, tretinoin.
Exactly.
There's like a bunch of them. A lot of the ones I just mentioned are typically prescriptive strength. But to Cayley's point, you can have this beautiful, all natural, clean product that is going to work even more effectively in the skin and not make your skin so sensitive and disrupt, like some of those prescriptive products are super irritating, super disruptive to the skin, can cause lots of shedding and peeling, sometimes burning. And what were you gonna say?
No, it can. It can be scary, and I feel like that's like why a lot of people are worried about using it sometimes, you know, because I've heard some, you know, some bad stories. I'm sure you do. So just making sure that you're using a product that is safe and effective, you know, and good for your skin. I will say the retinoic acid is what our body has to actually turn that retinoid in to be able to naturally like accept it. So the closer that we can get to that, which is like the retinol, is best. So
Yeah.
And then we do have some retinol alternatives at the spa too, through Eminence, which are a really great alternative if your skin, you know, can't handle, you know, that retinol. Or if you're, you know, going through like pregnancy or breastfeeding, you know, it's typically not recommended to use that, you know, during those times. So you're like, but I need something. I still don't want to age. I want to look good. So those retinol alternatives are, you know, another thing that I've leaned on the last few years.
So like we have the niacinamide and bakuchiol moisturizer would be one that you would recommend?
Yep, that's a great one. We also have the bamboo firming fluid through Eminence that has their natural retinol alternative in that I like a lot too. Helps to firm and tighten the skin, fine lines and wrinkles, all the good stuff.
And I think, honestly, I think vitamin A is that one that's like the natural Botox. Maybe not the natural Botox, but the natural anti-ager.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be the one that's going to help turn over all of those dead skin cells, help keep your skin looking youthful, help prevent wrinkling. Anything else I'm missing?
No, I didn't think you missed a beat.
Okay, good. And then also there are some vitamin C's, going back to vitamin C, that can be used at night as well.
Yes.
Right?
Arcana is the one that you're thinking of, the night worker. Yes. Arcana has it's a reparative vitamin C that is supposed to be used at night, typically about twice a week, just to help repair sun damage. So I always say like that's probably the one exception to the rule.
Yep.
Yes, that one you do use at night.
And I love that one. I also use that one too. And one, it smells amazing, but I don't know why the next day my skin always looks so glowy after the night that I use Night Worker. And I think you do the same kind of routine as I do. Like one night after I cleanse and wash my face, I'll use vitamin A, my advanced A serum. And then I follow that with my moisturizer. And then the next night I'll use pumpkin enzyme. Which is also another form of vitamin A.
Yes.
And then I'll use my moisturizer. And then the third night, I'll use my vitamin C night worker with moisturizer. And then the fourth night, I'll use an exfoliator that kind of works and exfoliates overnight called Gentle Solution. And then I follow that with moisturizer. So I'm rotating these active products and really only using them once every 4 or 5 days through the week.
Yes, yeah. So that's I think a lot of people know about, like, they call it skin cycling. So skin cycling is you know, where we're doing exactly what you're doing. Of course you're doing it the right way.
Okay, phew. I'm glad I'm doing all the right things. But before we jump into exfoliators, because I think people have a lot of questions around that too.
Yeah.
What about vitamin E and niacinamide? Tell us a little bit about those and where those fit in.
Yeah. So vitamin E helps to like hold water into the skin, which is really helpful. And niacinamide is great for just about anybody. So niacinamide, you can use it twice a day. You can use it on sensitive skin. It also helps to pull water into the skin, but it's really great to help like minimize pores. It's great for reducing redness in the skin. It helps to brighten the complexion. Niacinamide pairs very well with vitamin C and vitamin A. So like the bakuchiol niacinamide moisturizer you mentioned earlier, like that's something that you could totally use in the morning and the night if you wanted to kind of simplify your routine and not do like a night cream.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one because it gives you kind of all your actives, so you can use those at the same time.
And also niacinamide can help with acne too, right? Not like a benzoyl peroxide, which is not something that we recommend.
Correct.
Because it strips the skin and it kind of kills your microbiome.
Yeah, it's very harsh.
Yeah, super harsh on the skin. Even though we know there's whole skincare systems for acne that are built completely around benzoyl peroxide, right?
Yes, and benzoyl peroxide is like very drying for the skin. It's something I touch skin a lot, and that probably sounds weird, but as soon as like I do my first cleanse on clients, and I get my hands on and they're telling me what they're using, I'm like, yep, I can feel that, like I can feel the dryness here. I can tell you're using this, and you're probably using it too much. And benzoyl peroxide is definitely one of those ones.
And
that
their
are
texture,
their texture
gets really compromised. So niacinamide, though, can help with decreasing inflammation. It can help normalize your oil production, improve your barrier function. And for people with mild acne, sometimes this is enough to just treat their mild acne, but definitely for people with more severe acne, it can be a nice help as well.
Yes, it's also even good too if you just have like some pore congestion. Most people have pore congestion like around our nose and chin, kind of that T-zone area. So it just kind of helps to like balance out that oil production and help to like hopefully tighten some pores is the idea around it.
And not dry the skin out like benzoyl peroxide. Awesome. And it's also going to help, like you said, regulate your sebum production so that your oil production is back into a normal balance. And not in that crazy cycle that we often see a lot of people with acne going into. They put the drying products on and then their skin starts getting really oily because it's trying to produce a lot of oil. So this is like a really great balancer for them. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why, again, not to go back to that moisturizer, I like it a lot, but it's like got that gel base in it too. And that's where the difference like in skin types and skincare comes in. If you're using like a really heavy, like thick moisturizer and you have oily skin, you're not going to like it. Because it's going to feel too thick and heavy and you already have that oil, so you don't need it. So if you have drier skin, like that thicker moisturizer is probably going to be, really good for you and something you're going to like the feel of on your skin. But if you have like, more oily acne prone skin, you're going to want more of kind of like that, lightweight gel base moisturizer.
That actually makes me think about cleansers again. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but does it matter what type of cleanser you use based on how your skin is? Like if your skin is really dry versus really oily or just kind of aging and not so supple, like does it matter what cleanser you use?
It does. So I will say more drier skin types is typically when I recommend, that kind of like creamier base cleanser. And then whenever you have like that more kind of like oily, acne prone or congested skin, you'll typically want kind of one that lathers a little bit more, has like different ingredients in it. Like we've got some with like lactic acid to try and help, break up that skin. So it does matter. However, I will say we do have options for everybody. Like our kombucha one can really be used on anybody. So if you don't like a creamy cleanser, that kombucha is such a great option because you get that foam that you feel that you need, to feel nice and clean, even though you are clean with the creamy one, I promise. But the kombucha is like that really good balance because it doesn't strip the skin. Still feels nice and soft after you cleanse, but you get the bubbles. So.
And like that Stone Crop cleansing oil, you can use that on oily or dry or any skin type.
That one is all skin types, yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, so now we know about niacinamide. We know about what I would call the vitamin ACEs, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. So let's talk about exfoliation.
Okay.
There's so many different kinds of exfoliation out there.
Yes.
I think it gets very confusing. I think a lot of people over exfoliate and don't know that they're over exfoliating or don't ever exfoliate and don't understand why they're getting breakouts and different things on their skin. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's whenever you said over exfoliate, I'm like, there's so many clients I have that don't even like know about exfoliation, which is okay. Like, you don't, you can't know something until you know it. Yeah. Exfoliation, I will say that's probably the, after we get our basic kind of core, cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen in, when we're looking to start something, my next go-to is always exfoliation. It changes your skin so much. You have to think, we build up so much like dirt and bacteria and dead skin. Like if you're using a vitamin A, it forces that cell turnover in the skin, but also where's that dead skin going?
Right.
It's just like sitting on top like a layer. So
right. So is it gonna, just so people know, if you're using the vitamin A, it's going deep into the layers of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping to shed those dead skin cells, but where do they go? Like, do they just stay under your skin and then they build up and you start getting white bumps on your skin?
Yep.
Like, what happens?
Yeah, no. So, and that's a great question. So with vitamin A, it's forcing that cell turnover for aging. But whenever we're doing that, we're producing more cells. So it's just going to kind of create a barrier, and they actually kind of stick together and they create proteins like glue, and they'll just like kind of sit on top of the skin. So a lot of times I'll have clients say, my skin feels so dry. And I'm like, it's just dead skin. Like, we can get it off, like, do you exfoliate at home? And a lot of times they don't, which that's definitely the next thing that I'm going to add to your routine would be that exfoliation. So there's different types. The main ones, especially for home, are going to be your chemical and your physical exfoliation. So when we get into that, physical is going to be more of like a gommage, so more of kind of like that scrub that you're using. Or there's other, like pads and stuff that people will use. So that one's going to help to remove kind of like that dry, dead skin. And it does work well, but it works best whenever you use both together. So chemical exfoliation, there's going to be a combination of typically different acids, so like AHAs and BHAs. So our AHAs, they're called alpha hydroxy acids, and beta hydroxy acids are the Bs. So AHAs are typically best for just about anyone. Unless you're super sensitive, you could go to like a PHA, which is fine. But
And a PHA is
polyhydroxy acids. Sorry.
It's a more mild acid type peel.
Yes.
More mild than the AHAs or the BHAs.
Yes. So in terms of that, yes. So it'd go AHA is your most mild, PHA is your most mild, AHA, and then the BHAs. So the chemical exfoliation at home typically is either going to be a serum or a pad. My favorite's the Gentle Solution through Arcana. They have that, or the solution pads, which are a little stronger. So those have a mix typically of like different like glycolic, lactic acids in there, just to help kind of break up that dead skin. And
the pads are cool because they have that little bit of physical exfoliation, but then also have the chemical exfoliation as well, because it has the peel in it, or the AHA or the BHA built in with it.
Yeah, so those are definitely those are my go-to. So on exfoliation nights, I will typically do the gentle or the solution pad and wipe that on. And so that way you kind of get those acids, and they work overnight. So that's why I like to do that. So that way it kind of eats up dead skin, dirt, bacteria, kind of really gets in there. So that's going to help with like pore congestion. It's going to help smooth out texture, even your complexion. And then typically the morning after is whenever you want to do that physical exfoliant. So that's where through Arcana it looks more like they have their gommages, or Eminence has like their Stone Crop Fizzifoliant, which is my favorite because it like fizzes up and knocks down it. I just like
I know
it.
you guys all love that one.
Yeah, we do.
And there's different variations of the physical exfoliation too. So the gommages and the Fizzifoliant that you're talking about are very different textures.
Yes, they are. So there's more mild, and then there's definitely, I don't want to say harsh ones, but, ones that kind of remove a little bit more of that dead skin. And it really just depends on your skin type. Like some people do need that, kind of like heavier, physical exfoliant to get rid of like their dead skin buildup. And some people are a little bit more sensitive and, don't produce that much or less oily, and, they don't need, something that heavy.
And the crystals, so with the Fizzifoliant, it's like a very fine powder, and you can mix it with water or mix it in with your cleanser.
Yep.
You can barely really feel it. I feel like when you put it on your face, you feel a little bit of the exfoliation happening. And then when you go to like more of a gommage, it's a larger crystal.
Yes.
And so it does feel a little more, I don't know if aggressive is the right word,
right.
but you can definitely feel it more on the face. And the thing I like about the products that we use too is that there's actually a science behind the crystals in the exfoliators.
Yes.
So they're making sure that they don't have rough, sharp edges where you can get like micro tears and micro cuts in your skin.
Exactly.
And so when you go back to looking at like drugstore brands versus
are you
going to say it? What are you really getting and what's happening to your skin?
Yes. So my head goes to, I know everyone, the apricot scrub. I think everybody knows that that's probably not the best product to use. And the reason being is just those pieces, they're like the pit of it that are just like crushed and ground up, and they're literally like any size, and you're scrubbing that on your skin. So you're creating, where Krista, the micro tears in your skin, you know. And
what happens when you have micro tears in the skin?
I mean, it affects your skin barrier. So our skin barrier is what protects us. That protects us from environmental damage and stressors and, dirt, pollution, like all that kind of stuff. And whenever our skin barrier is not intact.
And it can cause scarring?
It can cause scarring, yep.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so then now let's talk about peels, because now we've got our exfoliators that we're using at home. We've got our AHA, BHAs, PHAs are like a mild form of a peel. But then there's stronger peels that people can sometimes buy over the counter, sometimes buy in spa, and also get in through professional grade facials.
Yes. So typically at home, I feel like the peels more, or the acids typically aren't above like a 10% in that kind of form. But most of the time, whenever you're getting like exfoliation, it's normally going to be between like that 3 and 5% range is what I typically see. And then whenever you come in spa for treatment, that's where we can go up to 30%, which is not something that you typically want to do at home. Right. Just to have a little bit more education behind it and make sure, that the skin can handle it and is prepared for it. And, just really getting that professional evaluation on your skin. I would say I'd save those ones for, in spa.
And then there's even more aggressive peels that can be done in like a dermatology office or a medical-based med spa where they have physician oversight. And in my personal opinion, I'd love to know your opinion on this. I don't know that doing something that disruptive to your skin is ever really necessary. I know there's huge crazes over the vampire facial and, all these other crazy facials that are probably up to 50 or 60% acid facials, and people are coming out very irritated. Sometimes the downtime is a few days. And sometimes afterwards, what we've seen is that it can actually cause scarring. It can actually cause long-term damage.
Yeah, it can. And it's very hard to say because, I know that there's people that have, deeper issues that they're wanting to correct. And it's, we're so self-conscious about our skin. I mean, that's the first thing that, you see whenever you meet somebody is if they have acne or if they have scarring, women wear makeup to cover that up. So it's a really hard kind of, topic to be like, well, don't do this, it's not. And, there's definitely... Could we do something better? Sure. But I mean, I do understand if you have like that kind of like deeper like pitting and acne scarring or, like deeper fine lines and wrinkles. I think that's more where, people go to kind of seek those treatments. Not that we can't, help that with, more natural products. But I do see that kind of push more towards that. We, of course, don't do that at the spa.
Well, and I think the important message, at least for me, is that there's a place, I think, for all of these things. I think there's a place for Botox and filler. I think there's a place for these more aggressive facials like you just mentioned. I think the thing is really doing your homework, understanding who's providing them, making sure that they know what they're doing and that you're doing them for the right reasons.
Exactly.
To your point, I think that we can achieve many, if not all of the same results, but because we do it in a natural way, it does take longer.
It does.
And, we are in a society of instant gratification and we want everything right now. And if that's you, then what we do at Panacea for skincare might not be the right fit for you.
Exactly.
But if you're willing to do, you want to do more of an all-natural approach and you're willing to put that kind of time and consistency into your skincare routine, then we would be a great fit for you.
Exactly. Yeah, and going back to that, it's more where, I've heard a lot of clients that they're like, well, I've had a consultation for this or that, and I look at their skin, I'm like, but you don't need it, I don't think you need it. Your skin looks great. Like there's a couple things you could add in, to your home routine, and you could start doing, regular treatments. I have a lot of clients that like to come in, and that's another, I guess, probably topic, but like how often should you be getting spa treatments done and,
Let's
like
talk
facial
about
treatments?
What do you think?
So, and again, that's where it comes into budget. I mean, everybody has their own, like their own beauty budget. Like what are you able to spend on that kind of thing? And also time too. So, I do have clients that like to come in and see me every month. There's clients that, every quarter is a little bit more, suitable for their time and their budget. And I really think that that's, kind of like that great sweet spot. If you're coming once a year, that's more of a good, relaxing treatment. I don't think you're going to be getting as many results if you're not, getting treatments done, as often. But if you're kind of trying to find that good middle ground and, just get started, once a quarter is really great in my opinion.
What about the balance between home skincare and spa grade skincare? You just talked about the frequency, but why is it, if you really want to see really good results, why can't I just come in for one facial and have you tell me everything I need to do at home and that can be enough for what I need to do?
Yeah, well, so the other thing about this too is that, we have access, we have professional like back bar. So we have access to, higher levels and, more like potent ingredients kind of thing. So, we're at home, maybe you could do a 5% AHA peel, but if you come to the spa, I can do a 25% on you. And like, let's talk about the difference because it just sounds, like a number like, oh, well, bigger is better. And, the main difference that you're seeing in skin whenever we're using, like larger percentages and acids is like the level that it's going to penetrate into your skin and, kind of that change that it's going to cause. So it really makes a big difference.
So we just talked about those more med spa grade facials that are doing, 50-60% acids versus ours being 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
To be clear, we are not a med spa. And because we're not a med spa, within our scope of practice as estheticians, we cannot go past 30%. And nor do we feel like we need to go past 30%.
Correct.
But why would someone choose a, maybe just like an activator or a heavier exfoliator or maybe even like a 5% peel versus doing like a 25 or 30% peel? And why is that different from those 50 and 60% peels?
So whenever you... That's a really hard question. That's a good question. So whenever you get into it, there's, I guess, like a time and a place and things that our skin, should tolerate and can tolerate, where on like a daily basis, like we don't want to put like a 25%, peel on our skin every, week or every couple nights. That's not, it's going to wreck your skin barrier.
Yeah.
But, being able to kind of reset and refresh the skin is really important, I think. So if we use those kind of, more like lower, like level ones at home, I think that's really helpful. But definitely being able to come in, like I said, even if it's like once a quarter, every 2 or 3 months is really great just to get that, like deeper level of penetration into your skin, just to kind of really see that change. It helps a lot. But then where you go to the 50 to 60, it's kind of like, is too much of a good thing, a bad thing? And that's kind of where I go to it in my head where, okay, we can overdo things.
Yeah. And isn't the belief that, a 25 to a 30% is going to help with deeper product penetration.
Exactly.
It's going to help with better cell turnover, but it's not penetrating so deep into the skin that it's causing actual physical damage to the skin. And that is the belief with higher grade peels, is that we need to create injury to the skin so that the body then sends an immune response to then repair that and boost the collagen, boost the elastin, all of those things. But we can do that without creating that injury to the skin and disrupting the natural skin barrier with a 25 to 30% peel.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So peels can be a little bit complicated.
Yes, they are.
So that's why having someone like you to help regulate that for them and help evaluate their skin to see when it's an appropriate time to do it is so valuable.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think, you all know that we have this specialty focus in oncology therapeutics, and we have a client population that can tend to have very sensitive skin, very thin skin, and sometimes don't know what to do from a skincare perspective. And that's one perfect example of where an expert like Cayley can really provide some valuable advice. And also when you're coming into a spa like ours, knowing that you have people that are trained in this area to know and understand what the right things are to put on the skin so that we're not creating any damage.
Oh yeah, that was a really big draw for me whenever I was like reading through like the job description, and I was like, wow, they focus on that. I was like, I didn't like, that's not something that's talked about, honestly. Like I don't really, a lot of times whenever, It's very unfortunate when people are going through, like a cancer diagnosis and treatment, like one of their favorite things, if it's to go get a massage or go get a facial, like a lot of times they get turned like away, which is so like sad to think. I think you actually told us about a story. You had a man that, he used to go get massages like every month, and like then he had unfortunately started going through cancer treatment, and his massage therapist was like, oh, like
I won't work on you anymore. Even though she'd been working on him for years, suddenly he has a cancer diagnosis, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
So, and it's out of fear. It's not out of anything that she wanted to do to hurt the client, or, I'm sure she really wanted to help him, but she just didn't have the knowledge to do it. And so what you guys learn at the spa through your oncology care training is really important, and not just for people who have had a cancer diagnosis. I mean, it's for all different types of significant health conditions.
Yes.
People with diabetes and, cardiovascular issues, and knowing how to manage the different things that they're going through so that we're modifying our services appropriately to be able to take care of those conditions.
Oh yeah, it's so important. And that's why a lot of times I will hear it's just so hard because there's so many things out there, and how do I know if this is working, or how do I know if this person tells me this, and I go to Ulta and the girl that works there says this, and there's a lot of different things. So just really making sure that you find someone that you trust that has like the good knowledge base and information, I just think is so important.
Let's go back to exfoliators for just a second.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who are like, every time I exfoliate, it just dries my skin out so much, so I really don't use them very often?
You're probably not using the right one if that's what's happening, because that's not what an exfoliator should do for your skin. And that's where we kind of get into those different acids. If you're using a BHA is going to, that penetrates the furthest. It has a very small molecule. That's typically our salicylic acid. And that's more, suggested for, that acne-prone, oily, congested skin. If you are dry, mature, aging skin and you're using salicylic acid, well, yeah, it's going to make your skin really dry. It's not meant for your skin type. So again, just kind of getting that, professional advice is, really helpful, I think, to building, a good routine where, hey, I think actually an AHA is going to work better for you. Or if you have rosacea and you have active rosacea and you're using a physical exfoliant, it's not recommended. It's actually contraindicated for it. So if you're, using a scrub on your very sensitive rosacea skin, it's going to, do damage, unfortunately. So that's where you want to lean into maybe more doing like a PHA, like our pineapple tonique through Eminence is one of my favorites. It has
you have it.
Oh, you happen to.
And it smells so amazing. It's so good. Like so many of our products are like, they smell so good. Like you just want to eat them. I mean, obviously we don't want you to do that, but
it literally feels like you smells like you just put like fresh pineapple on your face. It's my favorite. But so the like pineapple tonique has bromelain in it, which is an enzyme that occurs naturally in pineapple, and it helps to basically like digest the proteins that help to create those bonds that hold like that dead skin together. And then it also has the PHA, the polyhydroxy acid, which is like very gentle, sensitive. So maybe that would be a better option. So you just might not be using the right one.
Could that be because I use my pineapple tonique every day? It does not dry my skin out. Could that be an okay alternative if I find that gommages and other things are drying my skin out? Like, is that enough exfoliation for me?
It depends on your skin type. And, that might be where that's good for you daily. But, like for my skin, like I work best if, I exfoliate my skin twice a week. Some people need once a week. Some people need 3 times. So really just kind of, getting someone to help understand your skin a little bit better and, can kind of look at it from a different perspective is really helpful. For some people, that might be enough. If they're very sensitive and they really can't handle much, that at least helps kind of, get into their pores a little bit more, helps kind of create that process. So it really just depends.
I use that every day, and then my every 4 to 5 day routine in the evening, I'll do the gentle solution at night, and then sometimes I do the gommage the next day, sometimes I don't, because I do tend to find that the gommage does make me feel dehydrated and a little more dry. But the cool thing I like about that combo, and you kind of got into this earlier, is that nighttime exfoliator is getting deep into the layers of skin. I always compare it to like Pac-Man.
Yes, you
so
do.
It's like little Pac-Men that get in there and they munch up like all the bad stuff and chew it all up and get it ready to evacuate the skin. But then you need that exfoliator to then pull all of that out and get rid of it.
Exactly. Yes. So that like basically that acid, that chemical exfoliation is doing its job. And then the morning after, we want to basically scrub up all that dry dead skin that it kind of like eats up for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to your point, if the gommage that you're using is kind of makes your skin feel like too like rough after or too dry, you could limit the usage of it. It also could be something where you use like a little bit more of that visifoliant, where it's not as again, not aggressive, but where it's a little bit less, I guess, for the skin.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I am also then using my pineapple tonique afterwards. So maybe the combination of doing the gommage and then following it by the pineapple tonique is maybe just a little too much.
It could be.
So good. Okay, I learned something today. Thank you, Cayley.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now I want to talk about the order that we should use all these products. And we've talked about all this awesome stuff. And there's so many things that you can use. And if I wanted to use all of the things we talked about, I have the budget. I, want to do more than just two or three things in my skincare routine.
Okay.
How should I apply all of these?
Like build that beefy routine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say, there's going to be morning and night. So let's start with morning. So morning time, you can double cleanse if you'd like. Like I said, I personally just do my, single cleanser in the morning. And then you're going to follow it up with either like a toner or a tonique, or Eminence has essences too. Kind of a lot to get into, but they're going to help kind of rebalance the skin's natural pH. They can also help remove, if you're using like a toner or a pad, it helps to remove anything that your cleanser didn't get up. And then after there, vitamin C is going to be next. So my easiest way to remember it is, we cleanse, tone. After that, we want to apply our skincare in the order of thinnest to thickest, so that way it properly absorbs into the skin. So vitamin C is it's like water, basically. It's very, very thin serum. So that one's going to go on first. And typically it's best if you wait like 20 to 30 seconds if you can before applying all of your products. So that way, whenever they're going into the skin, they have time to actually kind of drop down and absorb, and they're not just like mixing. Honestly, the best way to do it is just kind of doing thinnest to thickest. So whenever we're working into that, the vitamin C is going to go on first. And then if you're using like a hyaluronic acid, that's really good. Hyaluronic acid helps pull water molecules down into the skin. And you want to do that on either damp skin or mix a little bit of water with your hyaluronic acid. Reason being is the molecule needs to expand, and it needs that water to drop down into the skin and to actually expand to give you that hydration. So if you're not using water with it, you're just wasting your hyaluronic acid.
And also the hyaluronic acid, because it carries up to 1,000 times its weight in water into the skin, if you don't mix it with a mist or water or something, it's actually going to pull water out of your skin because it's basically like a sponge. So you have to give it something to take into the skin. Otherwise, it's going to pull moisture and hydration out of your skin.
Yes.
So you don't want that. But hyaluronic acid is awesome.
It is, yes. Yeah, so, and then after your hyaluronic acid, depending what you're doing, if you're Krista, you're putting on a couple more serums. But, I mean, honestly, that's really kind of great routine in the morning. Your vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, and then if you want to use some niacinamide, you can. My go-to would be like the Bakuchiol niacinamide moisturizer after that. So that way you're getting your niacinamide. The Bakuchiol is a natural retinol alternative, so you're kind of getting that anti-aging in there too.
But wait, I thought you said we have to use our vitamin A at night.
It's not a vitamin. It's a retinol alternative, though.
Okay.
So, yeah, retinol alternatives. They have a little bit of a different role with them. Yes, they're not reactive to the sun, so which is why. But yeah, so then you would do your moisturizer. Oh, I forgot eye cream. We need eye cream.
Yeah.
So eye cream, I typically like to apply that after I do my serums before my moisturizer. So I'll do my serums, I'll put my eye cream, and eye cream should go around the eyes like and up too, so that way we're making sure we're getting in all the areas.
And also like up here as well.
Yes.
So all the way around and through here. and not just like here and here.
Not just the under eye. Yeah, you want to get like above like the eye too, kind of below your brow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we would do our moisturizer and then sunscreen.
Yay. Okay, cleanser, toners and essences.
Yes.
Then you're going to do your active ingredients, so like your vitamin C. Then you're going to do your hyaluronic acid.
Yeah.
And you're going to do that with a mist, whether it's water or it's an essence or something like that. I use birch water, which is this one.
Oh, you're almost out. Yeah. I love birch water
so much. I use that essence, and then I mix my strawberry rhubarb hyaluronic serum with that. And then after that, then you're going to do your eye creams.
Yes.
And then your moisturizers and niacinamides if you're going to use niacinamides. And then your sunscreen.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay. This is such an awesome conversation, and we have so many more topics to talk about, but this episode has gotten way longer than what I thought it was going to be. So if you're okay with it, I want to end this episode here, and then we'll do another episode for next week, just so that we're not overwhelming people too much. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's still so much to talk about.
There is.
Okay, awesome. So if you enjoyed this conversation and you've found it helpful, please definitely share it with all of your friends. Definitely follow the show by following us on social, leaving us a review, and of course, sharing this episode with everybody you know. So until next time, keep balancing serenity with fire. I'm Krista Quagenti, and I'll talk with you more in our next episode. At Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique, we don't just offer traditional spa treatments. We create rituals that relax your mind, restore your health, and rejuvenate your spirit. From biohacking technologies to advanced oncology-trained care, everything we do is designed to help you heal on the deepest level with clean, holistic therapies, products, and amenities that are second to none. And right now, you can experience two of my favorites, our whole body LED light bed or hyperbaric oxygen therapies. And as a thank you for listening, you'll get 10% off your first session when you use the code Serenity10 at booking. What is your panacea? Let us help you find it, because true wellness isn't a quick fix, it's a ritual.